on whose land we have been graciously hosted. I also want to acknowledge the presence of two Aboriginal elders, Auntie Beryl Banoklu and Auntie Ali Golding. As fate would have it, we new settlers who have landed in Australia are all refugees from our original homelands. Our journey may be likened to migrating birds on the lookout for a more hospitable nest. The poets whose works we celebrate tonight have come from diverse countries whose language is Arabic. The non-Arabic speakers amongst us are fortunate indeed to be able to cross the bridge and experience vicariously the poet's lamentation and joy through Dr. Rahid Nahas's translation of their work from Arabic into English. The late Ghassan Al-Ahmedin was from Lebanon, Khalid Al-Hili from Iraq, and their translator Rahid from Syria. I am truly honored to be asked by Rahid to launch tonight's poetry event, despite the fact that I have no background in the richness of their cultures. Our common ground, I believe, is twofold. One, we all dwell on this ancient land that has become our home. And two, we share a love of the language of the soul. Conversation from within. We all seek refuge from the storm in our hearts. We seek stillness. A flight to nowhere terrifies us. There is no respite if we feel that we can hardly recognize our own shadow. Where we have been, where we are going. It feels that to escape the clutches of death is beyond the materiality of skin or of place. Poets converse inward with the language of the soul. Many seek a glimmer of hope and a taste of the divine. They await the break of dawn. Famished hearts look for the embrace of a mother to receive warmth, comfort, solace. Why not here, in this new place, where they landed? That is we, in a sense, are all both people. This blended soil where we landed is the home of past survivors, now only slightly over 3% of Australia's population. The original people. Their numbers were decimated after they were dispossessed from 1778 of their land. Yet they have survived, the oldest continuing culture. Before boats kept arriving on shore, the original dwellers on this land who have lived here for millennia have a different connection to land. Land for them is the all-embracing mother, gathering all her children to her breast to ease the pain inflicted by the blind amongst us. Mother Earth wants us to be restful, to find stillness on this soil. We are kin with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander disquiet as survivors. We, both people, have arrived to find a new nest to lay our heads. We, newcomers, have found cracks on this land, felt faint lamentation arising from beneath the earth, heard the cry of the spirit of the land for justice. We have arrived on the blood-stained soil where even the voices of the slain cannot be silenced. We weigh the words said about us by other settlers and sense a wall within a wall, borders within borders, erected by structures of power that glance our way suspiciously. Some of them do not see us as survivors, but as perpetual strangers. We, like them, have crossed borders to seek life anew, to fly from our original nest for whatever reason, or escape the violence of soulless regimes. Are we in exile, like the original dwellers herded to missions and reserved supposedly for their own protection, whose movements were subjected to surveillance, and whose half-caste children were stolen to wash away imagined remnants of the first habitation of country, this country. enter young Ghassan Al-Medin, aged 12, who arrived in Australia in the 1970s to escape from a raging civil war in Lebanon. Later, he acquired a PhD in music and culture. Sadly for us, he died unexpectedly recently from a heart seizure at the age of 53 while on a visit to his homeland. He is here in spirit, celebrating with us the launch of his last poetry book, The Cities, translated from Arabic by Rahid, along with the launch of another book, No One Knows My Name, by a fellow poet, Khalid Al-Hili, who left Iraq in 1979, worked as a correspondent in the United Arab Emirates and in Morocco until his move to Australia in 1989. So, where do we sit? How do we survive? Where is our voice? We hear the lament of the soul from the sun's poem. Other places, all the matchsticks dropped from my box. How can I burn the coal of dreams? I couldn't even find the ashes of the black tree I used to ignite with my desires. For a long time I have thought that the day is born from a deformed night, and the sea is the only place to drown. And from Khalid I cite an extract from Window and Voice. Sadness takes me to my homeland. My garments weep for me in Babel, and I lament my days and years. My dreams are stolen. My arm is lost, and my tongue is condemned to death. Silence, 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 silence. Is the voice coming? How could the voice become louder? 1988, when Rahid, originally from Syria, of Syrian Lebanese ancestry, arrived in Australia, Rahid makes it possible for us to hear the inner voice of Ghassan and Khalid. Kalimat, the Arabic for words, opens doors for us to hear and listen from the depths of people's hearts. Rahid is the bridge, the trustee of this poet's work, the mirror that allows us to see a reflection of the original words. We cross borders to break down walls that have been put up to stop us from seeing each other as brothers and sisters, enjoying the bounty offered lovingly by Mother Earth. The soil on which we stand has become a blended nation, sitting on an ancient sacred land where the original descendants have welcomed the diversity of people who would come after them. I too am a settler, 1972 when I left my country, the Philippines. Then under the grip of martial law. I worked as a journalist in Papua New Guinea briefly until my move to Sydney permanently with my Australian husband in 1974. Every when, a word coined by W.E.H. Stunner, was his attempt to capture Aboriginal people's sense of place and time. Our past and our forebears' lives conceived as eternally present in us and carried in the soul of our descendants yet to come. In my poem, Flight to Nowhere, I wrote, behind bars, I saw them, their eyes tinged with sadness. Those strangers to each other, we spoke to our hearts in a world where soldiers once walked. Behind bars, I see them still looking at me with their ghostly eyes, tinged with sadness. I realize I am them. Like them, I am behind bars. For there is joy in my heart, struggling to be free. Lest we forget, joy sits in our hearts too. Our First Nations people have generously welcomed us here to walk in harmony with them, not behind bars, but in truth and justice, as we walk with the spirits on the land, free as ever as the dream time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Deborah, for that and for bringing along your esteemed friends. We are honored and delighted. Ghada Alamawi, Mrs. Ghada al-Mawi is the director of the Andalus Arabic Choir, a non-profit multicultural organization. She aims to keep the traditional Arabic music alive in Australia and committed to present high-quality concerts, engaging elite musicians in orchestral work to reflect her vision. The work Ghada has been doing with her husband Noel is really very important, and I think it will increase in this importance because of the way that she can introduce Arabic music in the way she is doing, and hopefully there will be a lot of progress in the future in that area. But like everything else, it needs a lot of work and preparation and support, and hopefully things will take shape to what the vision she is aspiring to is. She's a very hard-working person, and her husband is a great musician, I believe. And we have made a slight change in the schedule, so Ghada will appear now instead of at the end for various reasons. Please, Ghada. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Habib, and congratulations on the books. Technical? Thank you very much. Congratulations to Rarid for the books, and welcome everyone. We, as Rarid said, are a non-for-profit organization, the Andalus Arabic Choir. Please support us. We have one concert per year. We expect you to come and support us to keep the Andalus Arabic Choir and Arabic music alive in Australia. 8 and 9 November this year at Bankstown Brian Brown Theatre is our concert tribute to Ziad Rahbani's music.
Oh,
We
wow,
hope
beautiful.
for your support. Thank you.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you, Ghada. What a remarkable tribute to the late Ghassan Alamuddin you have just performed. And the real reason is you chose quite a lively and nice song. Ghassan used to love life and used to give with all his heart to the happiness of others. So this was a great choice. Thank you once again. Khalid Al-Hilli, one of the two poets I translated, his book today, No One Knows My Name, is actually in Arabic and English, a bilingual collection, and this is the first time the Arabic is published. And he, unfortunately, he lives in Melbourne and he cannot be with us tonight. He sent me a message and I translated it. I'll read it to you. With my deepest feelings of pride and love, I salute you all and apologize for not being able to be with you. I would like to express my sincere joy for the launch of my bilingual collection, No One Knows My Name. Above all, I tremendously appreciate the remarkable translation achieved by my friend Dr. Ragid Nahas, particularly that we all know that poetry translation is the most difficult form of all literary translation. Dr. Nijmeh Khalil Habib is going to talk about the work of Khalid Al-Hilli. Her talk is in Arabic, as befits his original Arabic collection. And Nijmeh Khalil Habib is a remarkable critic and scholar. In the late 90s, Nijmeh Khalil Habib and I collaborated on a literary project, and I could see clearly her dedication and thoroughness. She presented me with a book she authored about Ghassan Kanafani, one of the most important Palestinian literary and political figures assassinated by Mossad. The book was excellent. I don't know whether she recalls at the time that I told her that her literary comments amount to a high standard academic work, better than that a lot of PhD holders. Nijmeh, the not so young woman, eventually obtained a PhD from the University of Sydney. This was one of the best examples of her dedication. She is now lecturing at the University of Sydney. This woman, who struggled all her life alongside her husband to work in their corner shop and raise their children, never abandoned her ambitions in being what she wanted to be. For this, we are fortunate. I present to you a woman of letters and integrity, Dr. Nijmeh Khalil Habib.
مساء الخير. السلام عليكم وشكرا لإصغائكم الجميل، وشكرا للدكتور رغيد نحاس الذي أسعدني وشرفني بتكليف بتقديم هذا العمل الجميل. لا أحد يعرف اسمي، لا أحد يعرف اسمي. أنا التعس المرمي في الفراغ، عار من الاسم ومن الانتماء، على حد قول محمود درويش. وإن كان درويش قد استهجن هذا الإنكار وتعزى لأن الشجر والمطر والعصافير تعرفه، فشاعرنا لا عزاء له. هو مجهول في المطلق، متروك للذهول، عنوان يفرض نفسه علينا، يحفزنا ويثير شهوة القراءة فينا. ثم تأتي العتبات الأخرى لتكمل العنوان دور، فالغلاف الخارجي لوحة شاعرية ملونة بألوان شاحبة ناعسة تثير مشاعر الحزن والاكتئاب. ثم تأتي التوطئة لتعلمنا أن حالة الاغتراب هذه ليست حالة رهابية أو نفسية أو عصبية، وإنما هي إرث جمعي أورثه وطن ابتلي بالمآسي والحروب للأنا الشاعرة. لما لا تتركنا أيها الحزن العراقي الطويل؟ لما لا تتركنا؟ لما لا تتركنا؟ هذا التساؤل المرير والمتكرر يحرك الراكد في ضمائرنا ويحملنا على استرجاع تاريخ العراق المليء بالمآسي والحروب، من مأساة كربلاء إلى الاحتلال الأمريكي عام 2003، مرورا بالانقلابات العسكرية المتكررة والأحكام الدكتاتورية التي جثمت ثقيلا على صدور العراقيين وجرتهم في أكثر من مرة إلى حروب عبثية دفع فيها المثقفون الثمن نفيا وعزلة وسجنا وتصفيات جسدية. وشاعرنا خالد الحلي الذي عاش فوبيا التشظي والطرد والتخوين والعزل الثقافي تنفس معاناته بقصائد ودواوين كان آخرها لا أحد يعرف اسمي. ديوان محكوم برؤية وجودية اغترابية يجري التعبير عنها بصور شعرية متنوعة، فهي غاضبة عالية اللهجة حينا، هامسة حزينة حزن العراق الأزلي. يخرج الشاعر عن ووجودية مشككة حائرة في أحيان كثيرة. ففي قصيدة ألفية ومرآة مثلا يخرج الشاعر عن السرب المهلل المبتهج بقدوم الألفية، يعتزل الجموع الضاجة بفرح ويروح يحرق أوراق فجور سني الفجر القرن العشرين، فيرى بين رماد الأوراق تاريخا يبصق موتاه ويزغرد فوق دماء ضحاياه. تغمرني الأشلاء فأغفو، توقظني أصوات سكارى وحيارى يرتج لها الشارع، أفرك عيني وأبصر في مرآة الألفية رقم 3، فتبكي المرآة وتنفجر المرآة، تحكي تبكي تبكي تحكي، تشتم تضحك تضحك تشتم، أهرب مهذولا، هذيان هذيان هذيان. نشعر ونحن نقرأ هذه القصيدة كأننا في ساحة وغى إغريقية تتلاعب فيها الآلهة بمصير الناس وتصنع شقائهم. هي لا تمجد بطولة ولا تغني انتصارا، وإنما تكتب ذاكرة المغلوبين الذين يقع البلاء عليهم فيستسلمون له بقدرية عاجزة. هم السكارى والحيارى والموتى الذين بسقهم التاريخ وزغرد فوق دمائهم. هم الأنا الكاتبة، الشاعر المفجوع من قسوة الزمان الذي لا يملك إزاءه إلا الهذيان. يصل الشاعر إلى فكرته بصور شعرية لماحة، ويستخدم مفردات وتراكيب لغوية تحدث جرسا موسيقيا له رنين. الموتى الذين بسقهم التاريخ وزغرد فوق دمائهم، صورة شعرية لا تختصر معركة أو حربا فحسب، بل تستنهض كل ما في الإنسانية من بؤس وعبثية منذ فجر التاريخ حتى يومنا هذا. هم موتى لا شهداء ولا ضحايا، هم وخم وساق التاريخ، لا مواكب ترافق نعوشهم، ولا أمهات وحبيبات يندبنهم، وإنما تهاليل وزغردات احتفاء بتلاشيهم وتطهير الوجود من دنسهم. وفي قصيدة أيقظني كنجر يتماهى الشاعر بهذا الحيوان، كلاهما يعيش أزامة انتماء ووجود، كلاهما يطارد القدر فيتحدان بالمصير في دوران عبثي ليس لأحدهما منه مرور. أتخيل وجهي متشردا مغتربا بين شوارع بغداد. النيران تطاردني، النيران تطوقني، النيران النيران، وأنا أركض خلف كنغر. لا تحتاج هذه الصورة إلى إعمال فكر حتى نتحسس مأساة الشاعر الاغترابية، فهو فيها غريب الوجه واليد واللسان، بل هو كإنسان جون بول سارتر الذي عصفت به الحروب والأزمات الاقتصادية فأضاع انتماءه المجتمعي وانكفأ إلى صحراء قاحلة أشعرته بالتمزق والاغتراب. وتكمل قصيدة لا أحد أعرف اسمي ما بدأته أيقظني كنغر بصورة شعرية متظلمة خفيضة مسالمة. فالكنغر رمز السكان الأبوريجينيين أنكره المستوطنون البيض، أخرجوه من التاريخ، صنفوه بربريا متوحشا تماما كما في حال الشاعر مع مدينة بغداد. صوتك يأخذني نحو سنين البهجة في بغداد، ولكن ماذا حل ببغداد؟ وأين هي بغداد الآن؟
شكرا جزيلا. Thank you very much.
شكرا لك.
Thank you, Nijmeh, for a remarkable insight into Al-Hilli's work. Dr. Louise Wakeling was supposed to be with us tonight, and she has a great insight into my translations, and she was able from the translation actually to know a lot about the two poets, to my delight, of course, because for me this meant that the translations are true to the original. And I don't mean this in a literary sense, but it means that they convey what the poets would like to say. But her work assignments prevented her from being with us tonight. It was a last minute sort of a change. Now I would like to talk about my experience in publishing and translation, because as you realize, I published these books and I translated them, and there are good reasons, in my opinion, for this. And I haven't prepared a talk. I just want to tell you a story. بدي أحكي لكم حتوتة يعني. Back in 2004, I was on a visit to Lebanon, sometime before 2005 anyway, and a distinguished professor of sociology, Professor Khaled Ziadeh, approached me to translate a very popular book of his called Friday, Sunday, chapter from a biography of a city on the Mediterranean. We met at the office of a friend of mine there, and then I certainly accepted to do the translation because Tripoli as a city, this is Tripoli, Lebanon, is very similar in its development and aspirations, although in a different scale, to Damascus, where I come from. And Khaled Ziadeh comes from Tripoli. Khaled Ziadeh, we are talking about, not Khaled al-Hilli, the poet, we are talking about this professor. And I translated this book around that time. I ended up publishing it, and I tried to be true to everything, including the size and the way it looked, and the photographs in it. Now, when I finished the manuscript, as usual, I never publish anything I translate without running by an English speaker, a distinguished scholar or a poet or a writer. And it was actually looked at by a very, very famous Australian writer who has about 80 books behind her, and she loved it. She has a person that she knew, an agent, a literary agent, and she told me, you shouldn't publish it, we should find a publisher. I said, of course I would love to, but every time I try, nobody is interested in me. So she took it to that agent, and after 3 months, I received a letter from this very lovely young agent, and I believe what she said is true. This is the situation. They told her, this book is of no commercial value. So a book in Australia about actually a different culture and development of a city with great importance sociologically and a great importance for an expanding multicultural communities in Australia is in their eyes of no commercial value. Of course, I could believe that. But I find it very strange that no publisher, no organization would be interested in promoting something like this, and it's left to the individual to do this. So this is the problem when you try to do things like what Ghada is trying to do in her music and like actually a lot of us here, Marcel Mansour, for example, an artist, and she tries to promote her art, and she needs a lot of support, of course. So basically, that's what makes one do that. At the end of the day, you get fed up. A more recent development that happened to me, that last year, I published a book called Full Moon, a collection of modern poetry for me. And I was very happy with it, and photography, some of my photography, because like the great Deborah, I like photography. She is an outstanding photographer. And I sent it as usual. When you publish a book in this country, you have to send copies in this state to 4 sources: the National Library of Australia, the State Library, the Parliament House, and the University of Sydney. Now, all of them, usually, after sending the book, they respond within a couple of weeks that thank you, The University of Sydney usually takes a few months, and they respond, thank you for your book. This last one I sent, I received a letter which I have at home, and they told me, our library is no longer interested in this sort of, they phrase it in a certain way that actually they have now different approach to these things, and I really don't know why. A bilingual collection, English and Arabic, is poetry about things related to different countries, to Australia. There is a poem about Sydney, a poem about Damascus. And if the University of Sydney decided that they are not interested in this sort of thing, then I give up. Therefore, I publish myself. I put it in some library, and it's up to the next generation to look at it or not. I no longer dwell on these issues because I don't do it to get anything or to get fame. As a matter of fact, this exercise, including publishing a journal in between 2000 and 2006, that cost me a lot of time and money. We published 24 issues of this, and some people supported. One of the supporters, Saad al-Barazi, was a contributor, financial contributor. Leonora Howlett featured on the cover of one of the books because I wanted to introduce the English-speaking people to the Arab-speaking people and vice versa, and therefore we had a landmark article. For example, this one is about Saadi Yusuf, a remarkable Iraqi poet living in Europe. And when the scholars here, or when people read the English people or the Australians, actually they were so surprised with these things. They didn't know that some of those Arabs have this sort of values. So this is why self-publishing, if you like. And there are a lot of small publishing houses that they could publish for you, and I did that before for Khalid Hali. I published with Papyrus and others. But at the end of the day, it's really like self-publishing. It's nothing new, except it costs you more money. So this is why I publish. Now, I won't dwell much on translations because, as I said before, to me, literary translations, of course, I am a qualified translator, and I translated before a lot of scientific things. I have about 20 technical books that I did before. But when it comes to literary translation, most people think it is the most difficult, and especially poetry. For me, it is the easiest and most enjoyable, but I could be different. So this is why I didn't do it because I like it. I don't like to spend any time on translation. I like to spend it on my own writing. I did it because I believe in the value, and I stress this, and I'm not saying this for any self-gratification. I believe in the value of promoting gems that are hidden and they have no one there to promote them. This is why I did these things, and I have about 13 books of translation for different people.